Far beyond Earth, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, a powerful alien alliance known as the Vicari Dominion gathered inside a massive meeting hall. The hall floated in space, surrounded by hundreds of ships and glowing stations. The Vicari believed they were the strongest group in this region of the galaxy. They had explored hundreds of planets, studied many species, and rarely met anyone who could challenge them. For many years, their scientists had been collecting signals from a small blue planet known to humans as Earth. These signals were not deliberately sent into space. They were ordinary transmissions, music, movies, news, and random broadcasts escaping into the sky. To humans, these were normal pieces of life. But to the Vicari, they were windows into an unfamiliar world. The Dominion invited representatives from different Vicari clans to examine everything they had learned about Earth. They studied short clips of human celebrations, speeches, and even old films with dramatic stories. They heard loud music full of emotion. They watched recordings of humans arguing on talk shows and governments debating problems. They saw people struggling, people celebrating, people trying to fix mistakes. They even found footage of rockets launching and satellites in orbit, which, to the Vicari, looked humble but charming. But the Vicari made a mistake. They took every dramatic or chaotic moment too literally. The Dominion was used to planets that were far quieter and more predictable. They lived in a society where emotions were rarely shown. So when they watched humans expressing anger, passion, excitement, or fear, they misunderstood everything. To them, the humans looked wild and uncoordinated. The Vicari leaders thought Earth was full of a confused species that would easily surrender to a stronger force. One Vicari analyst presented a summary. According to their interpretation, humans argued often, showed too much emotion, and lacked the calm order the Dominion respected. In the eyes of the Dominion, this meant humans were easy to overwhelm. They concluded that Earth's people were too busy dealing with their own problems to defend themselves from something as advanced as the Vicari. The High Council of the Dominion listened carefully. They believed this planet could be the next place they controlled. Not for resources, they had plenty, but for influence. Expanding their reach made the Dominion feel secure. And in their long history, they had never encountered a species that resisted strongly enough to change their plans. After hours of discussion, the High Command approved a mission. The goal was simple: send a stealth ship to secretly observe Earth up close. If humans truly were as unprepared as the Vicari believed, then the Dominion would move forward with their plans. If not, they would return and rethink their strategy. But at this point, no one believed humanity would surprise them. The vessel chosen for this mission was a sleek scout ship, known as the GalaxyHFY. It had advanced cloaking systems that allowed it to slip through space almost unseen. It could hide behind energy waves, disguise itself as a piece of debris, or blend into the darkness between stars. The Dominion considered it one of their fastest and most intelligent ships. As the GalaxyHFY prepared for departure, its crew gathered on the central deck. They were trained observers, quiet and disciplined. They believed the mission would be simple. They expected to travel to Earth, collect new information, and return within a short time. None of them imagined that the tiny blue planet would challenge everything they thought they knew. Before departure, the mission leader delivered a calm speech. He reminded everyone that observation was their main task. They were not to interfere with the planet or its people. They were only there to study how humans reacted to unexpected situations and how they communicated. If Earth truly was as fragile as their signal suggested, the Dominion would have no difficulty planning their next steps. When the ship launched, it moved silently away from the Dominion's space stations and entered the open galaxy. Stars painted the darkness with silver streaks as the ship jumped into faster-than-light travel. Inside, the crew watched their screens as the route to Earth unfolded. It was a long journey, But for a ship like the GalaxyHFY, it felt almost effortless. As the ship approached the region of space containing Earth's solar system, the crew began scanning the planet from a distance. They saw the sun shining bright, planets circling in calm orbits, and Earth itself glowing blue and white with clouds. It was small compared to many other planets the Dominion had visited, yet it looked alive in a way that surprised them, even from far away. They picked up signals, music, radio shows, news reporters talking about events around the world. The crew listened in silence, trying to understand what they heard. Some were surprised by the wide range of human voices. There were calm voices, excited voices, uncertain voices, and hopeful voices. Although the crew didn't understand the languages fully, they sensed strong emotion in every signal. One crew member commented quietly that humans seemed more complicated than expected. Another replied that emotions did not equal strength. On most planets the Dominion studied, emotional species were usually easy to manipulate. They all agreed the mission ahead would confirm whether Earth was the same. The GalaxyHFY reached Earth's orbit under full cloak, confident it was invisible. From their point of view, humans below would have no reason to suspect anything unusual in the sky. After all, no other planet had ever detected their stealth technology. The crew started their observation. They watched cities glowing at night, following patterns of light that moved like rivers across the surface. They watched planes rise and fall from airports. They saw people gathering in open spaces, shopping in busy markets, working in tall buildings, and relaxing in parks. What caught their attention most were moments of unity. One of the first events they witnessed was a natural disaster, a storm hitting a coastal region. But instead of panic and disorganization, they saw humans rushing to help each other. Rescue teams moved quickly. Neighbors opened their homes to strangers. Volunteers delivered food and supplies. In every direction, people supported one another without hesitation. This cooperative behavior did not match the Dominion's earlier conclusions. According to their old data, humans were supposed to be disorganized and overwhelmed by emotion. But what they were seeing now looked like a species that could come together with surprising strength. Inside the ship, confusion spread among the crew. Their data had told a different story, and they didn't know which version of humanity was the real one. Despite their uncertainty, they moved to the next phase of the mission. The GalaxyHFY sent a coded signal toward the planet. It was small, simple, and designed to test Earth's ability to detect foreign activity. The Vicari believed humans would ignore it or fail to notice it entirely. But what happened next shocked them. Within minutes, Earth responded. Not only did humans detect the signal, they tracked its origin with astonishing precision. A message came back through the system, written in clear and calm terms. The humans didn't sound afraid. They didn't sound confused. They sounded aware, prepared, and focused. The message said something simple but powerful. Unidentified vessel. You are observed. State peaceful intent. In that moment, the crew of the GalaxyHFY stared at their screens in silence. No other planet had ever detected their ship so quickly. No world had ever replied with such clear confidence. The humans were not panicking. They were not attacking. They were not ignoring the message. They were watching, and they wanted answers. The crew realized that everything they believed about Earth might be wrong. The planet they thought would be easy to approach was now showing signs of strength, unity, and awareness that none of the Dominion's earlier studies had predicted. The GalaxyHFY continued hovering silently above Earth. But inside the ship, a quiet sense of uncertainty grew. The crew didn't know it yet, but this was only the beginning. Humans had noticed them. Humans were paying attention. And the warning that Earth had delivered, calm and simple as it was, would soon echo far beyond the blue planet. The GalaxyHFY continued to sit silently in Earth's orbit. But inside the ship, the crew felt a level of tension they had never experienced before. They had expected humans to be unaware of their presence. They had expected delays, confusion, or no reply at all. Instead, Earth reacted almost instantly, as if they had been waiting for something unusual to appear in their sky. The message from Earth kept repeating in the communication system. Unidentified vessel. You are observed. State peaceful intent. Every time it played, the crew felt more unsettled. They had studied dozens of planets, and none of them had ever detected the Vicari's cloaked approach. The stealth system on their ship was known throughout their region of the galaxy as unbeatable. Even advanced civilizations fell for it. But somehow, humans on this small blue planet had found them with surprising ease. The mission leader stood quietly at his station, studying the message again and again. He zoomed in on the signal pattern, expecting to find amateur-level technology. But the more he studied, the more he realized how precise the message was. It came from multiple human agencies, at once different groups working together, sharing information and responding as one. This was not what the Dominion had predicted. The old data had painted humans as unorganized, but the way Earth responded now suggested something else entirely. The mission leader ordered the crew to remain still and silent. They shut down any non-essential systems, keeping only the sensors active. They wanted to observe how humans continued reacting down on Earth. Systems lit up in command rooms across several countries. Radar operators, observatories, and communication centers had all detected the mysterious presence in orbit. No one knew who or what the visitors were, but people were surprisingly calm. Scientists worked quickly, sharing data with one another. Space agencies checked satellites and confirmed the readings. Governments spoke with their advisors, trying to decide how to respond, even though humans could not see the ship with their eyes. Their equipment could feel it like a pressure in the sky, a shape hidden in the dark that didn't belong. Humanity spoke with caution, not fear. Their message repeated on every channel the Vicari ship monitored: state peaceful intent. Inside the ship, the crew listened to human broadcasters reporting the event. They heard calm voices explaining that an unknown object was in orbit, but that there was no sign of danger. People on Earth were curious, worried, and hopeful at the same time. Some wondered if this was the moment their species would finally make contact with life from the stars. Others believed it was simply a piece of space debris or a malfunctioning satellite. The crew noticed that even when humans were uncertain, they still tried to comfort one another. They explained things, discussed possibilities, and refused to jump to panic. This behavior confused the Vicari. The Dominion had always believed humans were too emotional, but this calm response didn't match that belief at all. The mission leader decided to test Earth's abilities further. He commanded the ship to shift slightly, just a small movement, barely noticeable. It was a simple test to see if humans would detect even the smallest change. They detected it instantly. Another message came. Movement confirmed. Identify yourself immediately. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Never before had a planet tracked their ship so closely. Their cloaking system still showed full functionality, which meant Earth had detection methods that the Vicari didn't understand. The mission leader finally broke the silence. Humans may not have the technology we do, he said, but they have awareness. They have coordination. They have something we underestimated. Some crew members still struggled to accept this. They had already formed strong opinions about Earth. Their analysts had presented humans as a confused species, always arguing among themselves. But the evidence in front of them was completely different. To understand more, they focused on human communication lines. They listened to discussions among scientists who were trying to understand the unknown object in the sky. The scientists used simple but brilliant tools. They analyzed patterns, compared data, and built models of the object's potential behavior. The crew was surprised by the creativity humans showed. Earth's people did not have access to advanced galactic technology, but they used what they had in clever ways. As the hours passed, the humans continued watching, studying, and coordinating. They didn't threaten. They didn't attack. They simply asked for honesty. State peaceful intent. The mission leader realized the Dominion would need all the information they could gather. He ordered the crew to monitor Earth's global communication more closely. They watched news broadcasts where hosts tried to explain the situation calmly to the public. They saw children asking questions, adults giving reassuring answers, and communities gathering to look up at the night sky. They saw worry, but also hope. They saw curiosity, but also patience. One crew member whispered, almost to himself, "They are not afraid of us." The mission leader responded, "They do not know who we are, but they are not afraid to speak to us." That simple truth unsettled the crew more than any weapon could have. The human message changed slightly. "We request peaceful communication. If you can hear us, respond. We wish to avoid misunderstanding." The Vicari were not used to being asked for peaceful communication. In their experience, other planets only begged for peace after they realized how strong the Dominion was. But humans had not seen the Dominion. They had not been threatened. They simply wanted clarity. The crew spent hours discussing whether to respond. They knew that any reply could change the course of their mission. They were trained observers, not diplomats. They were not supposed to reveal themselves, but they also knew Earth would not stop watching. While they waited, something unexpected happened. A live event appeared on the human screens. A group of representatives, scientists, leaders, and officials stood before cameras. They were calm, composed, and speaking to the people of Earth and anyone who might be listening beyond. A human speaker stepped forward. The crew didn't understand every word, but the message was clear. "We do not know who is out there, but we hope you come in peace. We are prepared to talk. We are prepared to listen. And we will act responsibly to protect our world." The crew listened carefully. There was no threat in the speech, but there was strength in confidence, strength in unity, strength in saying that Earth was ready to defend itself if needed. The mission leader realized that humans were not as fragile as the Dominion believed. If anything, they were resilient in a way the Vicari did not understand. Below on Earth, the night sky became a place of quiet anticipation. People stood outside their homes, looking upward. Some held small lights, some pointed cameras, and others simply watched with silent curiosity. The world was united in a way the Vicari had not expected. Even countries that usually disagreed were working together. The crew turned their screens toward different parts of the planet, seeing the same thing everywhere. People looking up, waiting, wondering if this was a moment that would change history. The mission leader decided it was time to take a closer look. He ordered the ship to scan human satellites, but not to interfere with them. He wanted to understand how Earth had detected the Korak's eyes so easily. The results surprised him. Humans had dozens of systems, some old, some new, but they all worked together like pieces of a puzzle. None of the systems were perfect alone, but together they formed something powerful. Humans had created a network so connected and clever that it had spotted the smallest ripple in space where the ship hid. The crew realized that humans didn't need advanced alien technology. They made up for it with intelligence, collaboration, and adaptability. As more hours passed, the Vicari crew watched humanity's steady, calm response. They found it harder and harder to believe that this species was unprepared, even without knowing what they were facing. Humans showed maturity, discipline, and surprising unity. Eventually, the mission leader gave an order that no one expected. "We must send this information back to the Dominion," he said quietly. "Earth is not what we thought. The crew nodded slowly. Their entire mission had changed. They had come to observe a weak planet, but instead they had met a species that refused to act weak. Before sending the report, the mission leader watched Earth one more time. In the darkness below, millions of lights from cities shone like stars. People lived their lives, unaware that they had just surprised a powerful galactic force. The humans remained calm, organized, and patient, still waiting for a reply from the sky. The Vicari ship had intended to study Earth in secret, but now Earth had become a mystery the Dominion never expected, and humanity's clear, confident warning still echoed through space. You are observed. State peaceful intent. The Korok's eye remained in Earth's orbit, but the calm determination of humans below continued to unsettle the crew. The mission leader had never encountered a species like this. Humans had not panicked. They had not attacked. They had simply observed, spoken clearly, and waited. That alone was unusual, but what shocked the crew most was the level of precision in humanity's response. The Vicari ship's sensors picked up every human action, every broadcast, and every network communication. Across the planet, millions of people worked together as if they had a shared purpose. Scientists calculated trajectories of objects in orbit. Engineers checked satellites for anomalies. Observatories tracked any movement in the sky. Even ordinary citizens participated, looking up, recording data, and sharing observations online. The Dominion had expected confusion. Instead, they saw coordination, intelligence, and calm. One crew member leaned forward in disbelief. They are responding to us, but not with fear. How is that possible? They can't see us directly. The mission leader shook his head. It is not about seeing. It is about awareness. They know we are here because they have learned to notice what others might miss. They have prepared themselves to act together, even without knowing what we truly are. The humans' next action surprised the crew even more. A human message appeared on every major network and communication system. It was calm, precise, and confident. We know something unusual is above us. We are ready to communicate. We wish to avoid any misunderstanding. If you are listening, show that you come in peace. The Vicari crew read the message again and again. They had expected fear, confusion, or even chaos. Instead, they found confidence and unity. The humans were not intimidated. They were aware of the unknown, but they were not desperate. They were prepared to respond intelligently. That simple attitude unsettled the Vicari more than any weapon could have. The mission leader considered what this meant. If humans can do this without advanced technology, imagine what they might achieve if they had access to more resources. This is not a species to underestimate. He ordered the crew to expand their observation. They monitored communications between human countries, observing how governments coordinated with scientists and military analysts. Even in areas where disagreements usually existed, humans managed to collaborate effectively. They shared data, verified findings, and presented conclusions to the public. There was no panic. There was no chaos. There was only calm focus. Humans on Earth, meanwhile, continued their careful watch. Across the planet, people gathered outside, in homes, and in public spaces. Some used telescopes, some used cameras, some simply looked with their eyes. There was curiosity, but it was accompanied by patience. They did not jump to conclusions. They did not assume the worst. They waited for clarity and responded responsibly. One team of human scientists analyzed the unusual signals in detail. They discovered subtle patterns that hinted at an intelligent source. They did not react with fear. Instead, they shared their findings with other experts around the world. Together, they built a larger picture of the presence in orbit. They estimated the size, speed, and possible technology involved. Their methods were simple, but their coordination made them highly effective. The crew of the GalaxyHFY watched all of this in awe. They had never expected to find a planet that could coordinate so effectively without direct knowledge of their ship's appearance or capabilities. Every action the humans took reinforced a single idea. They were strong, adaptable, and ready to face the unknown. The mission leader decided to test human awareness further. He instructed the ship to emit a minor energy pulse. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, a small disturbance in space. The GalaxyHFY remained cloaked, moving slowly to avoid detection, but the humans noticed immediately. Another message appeared on their communication system. Anomaly detected. Your presence is acknowledged. State purpose. The Vicari crew exchanged nervous glances. No species had ever detected their stealth system so quickly, and no planet had responded with such confidence. Their mission had been planned as a simple observation, but it had become something far more complex. Humans had already proven that they were capable of intelligence, awareness, and coordination far beyond what the Dominion had expected. The crew continued to monitor Earth for the rest of the day. They watched as humans checked the accuracy of their instruments, shared findings with one another, and planned their next steps. At night, the streets and cities of Earth lit up with quiet activity. People looked to the skies, shared information, and discussed what might be happening above them. Children asked questions, adults offered reassurance, and communities remained calm. Even without direct understanding, they had already adapted to the presence of something unknown in orbit. The mission leader finally called the crew together. "We have underestimated them," he said. "Our original data suggested chaos. Our original reports suggested weakness. We were wrong. This species is remarkable." One of the younger crew members spoke cautiously. "Should we respond? If we communicate, it might change how they see us." The leader paused, thinking. "Perhaps, but any response must be careful. They are strong, capable, and alert. They are not afraid. They have already warned us, and they did so without panic. That warning carries weight. It is clear, simple, and confident. If we respond incorrectly, it could escalate unnecessarily." The crew agreed to continue observation while analyzing the human behavior patterns. They monitored more human broadcasts, government meetings, and global communication channels. Everywhere, humans showed a calm focus. Even when some disagreements appeared, small debates over interpretation of data, they were brief, respectful, and quickly resolved. This unity in the face of the unknown impressed the crew more than any display of strength could have. During the observation, the Vicari crew noticed something extraordinary. Humans seemed to have an instinct for predicting actions without direct knowledge. When the ship moved slightly or emitted a small signal, the humans adjusted their instruments and communication networks almost immediately. The Dominion had not expected this. On most planets, even intelligent species reacted slowly. But humans adapted quickly, as if they were trained for moments like this. The crew began to see that humans were not only strong and aware, they were clever and adaptable in real time. One scientist on the Vicari ship suggested sending a visual signal. They could project a subtle light into space, enough for humans to see, but not enough to reveal the ship completely. The mission leader considered this carefully. It could reveal their location and technology, but it might also show humans that the Dominion was not trying to harm them. They needed to be cautious, but they also wanted to understand how humans would react. The ship sent the small signal. Almost immediately, the humans noticed. Another message appeared. "We see you. We understand your presence. We request peaceful communication." The crew felt a mix of relief and awe. Humans were consistent. They were firm but calm. They had already warned the ship, and they continued to do so without fear. Their request for peaceful communication was not a demand. It was a statement of confidence, unity, and awareness. The mission leader made a quiet note in the ship's log. Humans are not what we expected. They are aware, capable, calm, and united. They are prepared for contact. We must reconsider our assumptions about this species. For the first time in the mission, the Vicari crew experienced hesitation. Their purpose had been simple: observe, report, and return. But now, every observation challenged their original plan. Humans were not weak, unorganized, or easy to manipulate. Humans were strong, intelligent, adaptable, and aware. They had already warned the ship of the consequences of misunderstanding, and they had done so without violence, fear, or chaos. As night fell over Earth, the Corax Eye continued to watch. The humans below continued their quiet vigilance, looking up, sharing observations, and preparing for any possibility. Their message remained consistent. They wanted peaceful communication, and they would act responsibly to protect their world. The mission leader realized that the humans had already changed the dynamic of the mission. What had begun as a simple observation had become a test of intelligence, awareness, and patience. The crew could not underestimate this species again. They could not rely on old assumptions or previous reports. Finally, the leader addressed his crew. We came here thinking we would watch a weak species. Instead, we have found one that is aware, coordinated, and confident. Our next decisions must be careful. Any contact will be guided by respect. We cannot ignore the warning they have given us. The Vicari crew remained silent, reflecting on what they had seen. Earth had surprised them at every turn. Humans had communicated clearly, coordinated efficiently, and remained calm in the face of the unknown. They had observed, they had warned, and they had requested peaceful communication, all without fear. The crew realized that this was not simply a planet to watch. This was a species that could shape events across the galaxy if treated with respect. The Corax Eye remained in orbit. Its sensors trained on Earth. Humans below continued to look up at the sky, unaware of the depth of observation taking place. They continued to warn the unknown presence above them, not with anger, not with panic, but with intelligence, clarity, and calm confidence. The crew of the Vicari ship had learned an important lesson. Humans were not fragile. Humans were not unprepared. Humans were a species to be studied, respected, and understood, and their warnings still echoed across space. We are ready. We are aware. Approach with respect. The realization settled quietly in the minds of the crew. The mission was no longer simple. The humans had already changed the rules simply by being themselves. They had already warned the Dominion that this small blue planet was not to be underestimated. And they had done it with nothing more than clarity, unity, and a calm voice. The Corax Eye stayed in orbit, silently watching, while below, humanity continued its quiet vigilance. The warning was clear, and it had already reshaped the mission in ways the crew had never imagined. The Corax Eye continued to hover silently above Earth, but the mission leader could feel a change among the crew. The humans below were no longer just a species to observe. They were a force that demanded attention. Every signal, every movement, every broadcast from Earth told the crew the humans were ready, aware, and united. The simple calm of the planet was stronger than anything the Dominion had expected. The crew decided to expand their observation. They had watched humans respond to the first messages and the subtle signals of the ship. Now, they wanted to see how humans would act if something stranger appeared. They released tiny nanoprobes into the upper atmosphere. Each probe was smaller than a feather and designed to blend with space dust. The Dominion believed the humans would never notice them. Within hours, the probes were detected. Earth's monitoring systems picked up the irregular movements and reported them immediately. Scientists, engineers, and government agencies analyzed the data. Unlike any other planet the Dominion had studied. Humans didn't panic. Instead, they organized teams to track the objects, predict their paths, and confirm whether they posed any threat. They published updates for other observers around the world, showing their methods and conclusions clearly. The GalaxyHFY crew watched this carefully. One crew member leaned forward in disbelief. "They are noticing everything we do," he whispered. "Even things too small to see with the eye." The mission leader nodded slowly. "It is not just about seeing. It is about understanding and coordination. They have networks, communication, and logic combined. They have awareness and trust in each other. This is what we did not account for." The humans sent another message through space. This time, it was longer, still calm and deliberate. "We have detected small objects of unknown origin. We request peaceful explanation. If you are present, please identify yourselves. We are capable of observation and ready to communicate without hostility." The message was remarkable. It was polite, clear, and firm. There was no fear, no aggression, no unnecessary excitement. Humans had effectively warned the Dominion that they were watching. They had made their strength clear without threatening, without escalating. And they had done it with nothing more than communication, observation, and unity. The crew of the GalaxyHFY began to discuss the implications. "We intended to test them," said one scientist. "We wanted to see if they were capable. But they are more capable than we imagined. They respond with intelligence and coordination, not fear or panic." The mission leader agreed. "We need to understand them. We cannot underestimate this species. They are organized, adaptable, and aware. They are not just surviving, they are thriving under pressure." Meanwhile, humans on Earth continued their work. Laboratories, observatories, and monitoring stations operated without interruption. People on the streets, in homes, and in public spaces watched the skies, recorded what they saw, and shared their findings with others. Even ordinary citizens contributed, using smartphones, cameras, and simple instruments to collect data. Everyone was part of the effort, united by the unknown presence above them. Some humans began to coordinate their efforts internationally. Teams from different countries shared findings instantly, compared observations, and planned the next steps together. The usual divisions between nations seemed to fade. For the first time, the entire planet worked toward a single, clear purpose: understanding and responding responsibly to the unknown visitors. The GalaxyHFY crew was astonished. They had never seen such cooperation on a planetary scale. Usually, when an unknown presence was detected, species reacted with confusion, fear, or competition. But humans worked together. They used their minds, their technology, and their communities to create a network capable of handling something far beyond their usual experience. The mission leader realized that humans had a remarkable trait: adaptability. They could take limited knowledge, incomplete data, and uncertain circumstances, and still act effectively. They could observe, analyze, and communicate across their planet in real time. Even without direct access to advanced alien technology, they were able to notice patterns, detect irregularities, and respond logically. The crew decided to conduct another test. They altered the movement of one of the nanoprobes slightly, enough for sensors to pick up a new pattern. They watched closely, expecting humans to either miss it or overreact. Humans noticed it immediately. Engineers and scientists recalculated the trajectories, discussed the implications, and updated their models. Another message appeared, calm but firm. "We are aware of unusual activity. Please clarify your presence. We request peaceful communication. We are capable of observing and understanding without conflict." The crew exchanged astonished glances. The humans were consistent. They were calm, aware, and willing to communicate. Every message reinforced their intelligence, cooperation, and strength. The mission leader took a deep breath. They are showing us exactly who they are. This is not a planet to conquer. This is a species to understand, respect, and consider carefully. The ship continued its silent observation. For the next several hours, the crew monitored Earth's reaction to the subtle signals from the probes. Humans continued to coordinate, study, and communicate without any sign of fear or chaos. Children looked up at the night sky with curiosity. Adults reassured one another. Communities discussed possibilities and prepared logically for the unknown. Even the news reports were calm and measured. Everywhere, humans showed the same pattern: intelligence, awareness, unity, and patience. The Dominion crew realized that humans were not only capable of defending themselves, but could also adapt quickly to any unexpected situation. The human strength lay not in weapons or technology alone, but in cooperation, awareness, and resilience. The mission leader decided to relay the findings to the Dominion. "Earth has already warned us," he said. "They have made their capabilities clear. We cannot underestimate them. This is a species that can think, adapt, and act together." The crew prepared the report. They described the humans' calmness, coordination, intelligence, and awareness. They described the global unity and the careful observation. They noted that humans had detected every subtle action of the ship and every probe released, responding with clarity and patience. As the report was sent, the mission leader turned back to observe the planet one last time for the day. Lights twinkled across cities and towns. People continued their quiet vigilance, working together, sharing knowledge, and looking to the sky. Their actions spoke louder than words. They had warned the GalaxyHFY that Earth was ready for contact, ready to defend itself, and ready to communicate without fear. The crew felt a mix of awe and humility. They had come to observe a small planet, expecting weakness. Instead, they found intelligence, unity, and patience beyond anything they had anticipated. The humans had warned them with nothing but observation, clear communication, and calm confidence. The mission leader made a quiet note. The humans of Earth have demonstrated strength through awareness, unity, and intelligence. They have issued their warning without fear or aggression. They have already influenced the course of this mission. The GalaxyHFY remained in orbit, observing silently as Earth continued its quiet vigilance. The humans below had not yet seen the ship directly, but they had already changed the course of events through clarity, cooperation, and patience. The crew knew that any future decisions would have to take the humans' abilities and warnings into account. The realization settled over the ship. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were alert, adaptable, and united. They had shown that even without the most advanced technology, they could monitor, understand, and respond to unexpected events. And their warnings, simple, clear, and confident, had already altered the mission in ways the Dominion could not ignore. For the first time, the crew of the GalaxyHFY felt that Earth was not just a planet to watch. Earth was a species to respect. They had shown that they could observe, communicate, and act together with intelligence and clarity. And in doing so, they had sent a message that would echo far beyond their small world. Humans were capable, prepared, and united. The GalaxyHFY stayed in orbit, silently recording, analyzing, and reflecting on what they had learned. Earth continued to shine below, full of life, intelligence, and calm determination. The humans had issued their warning, and the Dominion could no longer ignore it. The GalaxyHFY had been orbiting Earth for days now, silently observing, quietly recording, and carefully analyzing. The humans below had remained calm, focused, and consistent. Every small action taken by the Dominion's ship had been noticed, studied, and responded to with intelligence. The mission leader and the crew were no longer certain what the next step should be. The humans had already issued a warning without aggression, yet it carried more weight than any weapon could. The crew had gathered again to discuss the situation. They had seen the humans' global coordination, their patience, and their ability to adapt. They had observed millions of people working together across continents, sharing information instantly and correcting mistakes quickly. Humans had proven that even without knowledge of the Dominion's technology, they were aware, capable, and united. One crew member finally spoke up. "We came here thinking we would study a weak species, but we have found one that thinks, adapts, and coordinates at a level we did not expect. How should we respond?" The mission leader remained quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "We have underestimated this species from the beginning. The humans have demonstrated intelligence, patience, and unity. We must rethink our assumptions. If we send any message, it must be precise and careful. They will notice everything, and any misstep could cause confusion or tension." The crew agreed. For the first time, the mission was no longer simple. Observation alone was not enough. Humans had already revealed their strengths, and now the Dominion had to decide how to respond. The GalaxyHFY began preparing a message for Earth. It would not be threatening, but it had to convey intent. It had to communicate that the Dominion was observing, but did not wish harm. The crew worked together to craft a careful statement, analyzing patterns in human communication and behavior. They wanted to match the tone of Earth's messages: calm, clear, and respectful. Meanwhile, humans on Earth had not stopped their vigilance. Scientists, engineers, and volunteers continued to track the ship and its subtle signals. People watched the skies, documented observations, and shared information. Across countries, governments coordinated to understand the presence without jumping to fear or panic. The entire planet was alert, yet composed. Every step taken by humans reinforced the message they had already sent. They were ready, aware and capable. As the GalaxyHFY transmitted its message, the humans received it almost immediately. Unlike previous messages, this one revealed subtle information about the Dominion. It confirmed the presence of an intelligent, observing species, but stated that there was no threat intended. The humans analyzed the message carefully, noting every detail, every pattern, and every implication. They responded in their usual way: calm, precise, and deliberate. "We have received your message. We understand that you are observing. We are capable of observation, analysis, and communication. We request that your actions remain peaceful. We will continue to watch and learn." The Dominion crew observed in silence as humans continued their careful coordination. There was no fear. There was no chaos. There was intelligence, awareness, and patience. The humans had already warned the Dominion once, and they were consistent in their approach. They were prepared to communicate without escalation, but they also made it clear that they were not defenseless. The mission leader studied Earth's message. They are confident without aggression. They understand what is happening. They are asserting themselves, but not in anger or panic. This is remarkable. No species we have encountered before has done this. The crew realized that humans were teaching them something about strength. True strength, they noticed, was not in advanced weapons or aggressive displays. It was in awareness, coordination, intelligence, and calm communication. Humans were demonstrating this in every interaction, every observation, and every carefully worded message. The crew decided to continue observing while analyzing the humans' approach. They monitored global communications, broadcast systems, and scientific networks. Humans shared their findings, corrected errors, and coordinated responses in real time. Even when different countries had minor disagreements about interpretations, they quickly resolved them with discussion, consultation, and collaboration. The Dominion began to see the value in this approach. Humans were not just reacting, they were analyzing, learning, and teaching themselves and others simultaneously. Their warnings were not empty threats. They were informed, thoughtful, and deliberate. The crew realized that any future action they took would need to account for this intelligence and unity. The humans, for their part, continued to act with clarity. They did not panic when subtle signals from the probes or the ship appeared. They did not overreact to movements in orbit or slight anomalies. Instead, they observed, calculated, and shared information quickly and accurately. Communities participated in this process, sharing observations and helping one another understand the unknown. Presence above, the crew of the GalaxyHFY watched with growing respect. They realized that the humans had already proven they were capable of handling situations far beyond their experience. The human strength lay not in aggression or advanced technology, but in intelligence, awareness, unity, and adaptability. They had proven that a species could issue a warning and maintain control of a situation without fear or violence. The mission leader made a careful decision. "We must report this to the Dominion," he said. "Humans are not what our initial data suggested. They are capable, aware, and united. They have already influenced this mission without ever seeing us directly. We must treat them with respect and caution." The crew agreed. They prepared a detailed report describing the humans' behavior, their calm observation, global coordination, adaptability, clear communication, and consistency. They explained how the humans had responded immediately to every probe, every subtle signal, and every message from the GalaxyHFY. They emphasized that humans were not reacting out of fear, confusion, or panic, but from intelligence, analysis, and unity. The report also included observations about humans' ability to cooperate. Even when disagreements arose, humans quickly resolved differences and continued working together toward a shared goal. The Dominion had never seen such cooperation on a planetary scale. As the report was transmitted to the Dominion, the mission leader turned to his crew. "We have learned something important. Humans have issued warnings without aggression. They have coordinated globally. They have observed, analyzed, and communicated with intelligence and patience. We came to study a planet. Instead, we have learned from a species. They have changed the rules simply by being themselves." The crew reflected on the humans' actions. They realized that the humans had demonstrated a rare form of strength, the ability to stand united, remain calm under uncertainty, and communicate clearly without fear. This form of strength did not rely on domination or intimidation. It relied on awareness, coordination, and confidence in one's abilities. Below, humans continued their careful watch. Children asked questions about the night sky. Adults shared knowledge and observations, and communities worked together to understand what was happening above. Every observation reinforced the warning they had already issued. Humans were ready, capable, and united. The GalaxyHFY remained in orbit. Its sensors trained on Earth. The crew had begun to see a pattern. Human strength was not in isolation. It was in collaboration, in observation, in communication, and in patience. Every action taken by the humans reinforced the same message. Approach with respect. The mission leader spoke quietly to the crew. "The humans have done something remarkable. They have warned us, prepared themselves, and coordinated globally without fear or aggression. This is a species that we must respect. Any future contact must be guided by this understanding." The crew remained silent, contemplating what they had witnessed. They had come expecting weakness. They had found awareness, intelligence, and unity. Humans had already issued a warning, and they had done so with clarity, patience, and calm confidence. As night fell across Earth, the GalaxyHFY continued to observe. The planet below glowed with life and activity. People watched the skies, shared information, and coordinated efforts. Their warning had been issued. Their strength had been shown. And the Dominion could no longer ignore it. The mission leader made a final note for the day. Humans are not just a species to observe. They are a species to respect. They have shown us that strength can come from awareness, unity, and intelligence. Their warning is clear. They are capable, prepared, and united. Any future decisions must honor that fact. The crew watched Earth one last time before the cycle ended. Lights sparkled across continents. Communities worked together, sharing knowledge and observing carefully. Humans had issued their warning, and they had done it with confidence, clarity, and patience. The realization settled quietly in the GalaxyHFY. Humans had changed the mission. They had demonstrated strength through awareness and unity. They had issued a warning that could not be ignored. And the Dominion had learned, perhaps for the first time, that true power could be found in patience, observation, and collaboration. The GalaxyHFY remained in orbit, silently recording, analyzing, and reflecting on what they had witnessed. Earth continued to shine below, full of life, intelligence, and calm determination. Humans had issued their warning, and the Dominion could no longer ignore it. The GalaxyHFY had been in orbit above Earth for a long time now. Days had passed, and every movement, every signal, every tiny probe had been noticed by the humans below. They had shown intelligence, patience, and unity. They had communicated clearly and calmly. They had issued a warning to the unknown presence above, a warning that was polite, firm, and unmistakable. Approach with respect. The Dominion crew had seen it all and realized that the humans were not only aware, but capable of shaping events simply through observation, collaboration, and patience. The mission leader gathered the crew again. He could sense a shift in their understanding. We came here to observe a species we believed to be weak. We came thinking they would panic, fight among themselves, or be easily intimidated. But we have learned something different. Humans are strong. They are aware. They are capable of unity. Their strength is not in weapons or technology. It is in intelligence, cooperation, and calm action. For a moment, the crew sat quietly, letting the words sink in. Every small test they had conducted, every subtle movement of the ship or probe had been noticed. Every anomaly had been analyzed, shared, and acted upon. The humans had proven that they could coordinate on a global scale in real time. They had warned the Dominion through actions and communication alone, and the GalaxyHFY crew could not ignore it. After hours of observation, the mission leader made a decision. We will initiate communication, but it must be careful. We must match their tone. We must show respect. We must make it clear that we mean no harm. Humans have already demonstrated that they are not easily intimidated, but they are willing to listen if approached correctly. The crew carefully prepared a message. It was simple, polite, and direct. It revealed that the Dominion was an intelligent species, capable of communication, but it emphasized that no threat was intended. They crafted it to match the humans' own style, calm, clear, and deliberate. When the message reached Earth, it appeared on the global communication networks. Scientists, engineers, governments, and ordinary citizens all received the signal. People gathered in homes, streets, and public spaces. They read the message carefully, studied the patterns, and shared observations across continents. There was no fear. There was curiosity, careful analysis, and cooperation. They discussed what it might mean, how to respond, and what actions to take next. Always maintaining their calm, humans responded in their usual way, clearly, calmly, and firmly. We have received your message. We understand your intent and recognize your presence. We are capable of observation, analysis, and communication. We seek peaceful interaction. We will continue to monitor and respond responsibly. Any future actions must be clear and respectful. The Dominion crew watched in awe. Humans had remained consistent in every step. They had issued warnings without aggression. They had coordinated globally. They had analyzed every subtle signal and action. They had shown patience, intelligence, and unity. And now, even in direct communication, they had not lost their calm. The mission leader spoke quietly. This species has demonstrated strength in a way we have never encountered. They do not rely on force. They rely on awareness, communication, and cooperation. They are ready to protect themselves, but they do so with intelligence and restraint. For hours, the GalaxyHFY remained in orbit, observing humans as they responded. Governments continued coordinating globally. Scientists analyzed every part of the message. Communities continued their careful watch of the skies. Even ordinary citizens participated, sharing observations, learning from one another, and preparing for any eventuality. The Dominion crew began to realize that humans had already shifted the balance. They had shown that a species could defend itself through awareness, collaboration, and intelligence rather than through aggression or advanced weaponry. They had issued warnings that could not be ignored, and they had done it consistently and confidently. The mission leader decided to relay a full report to the Dominion. He described every action of humanity: the calm observation, global coordination, intelligence, patience, and clear communication. He noted how humans had adapted to every anomaly, every signal, and every subtle movement from the GalaxyHFY. He emphasized that humans were capable of cooperation on a scale the Dominion had never seen before. When the report reached the Dominion Council, there was silence. No species had ever challenged their assumptions in such a way. They had sent their scouts to a planet they believed weak and disorganized, and the humans had proven them wrong in every aspect. The Council realized that Earth was not just another world to observe or conquer. It was a species to respect. The decision came slowly, but deliberately. The Dominion would not attack. They would not interfere. Instead, they would offer a path of diplomacy and mutual understanding. Earth had issued its warning clearly, intelligently, and patiently, and the Dominion recognized that any attempt to dominate or intimidate this species would fail. Back on the GalaxyHFY, the mission leader shared the Council's decision with the crew. Relief mixed with awe in their expressions. The humans below had not fired a weapon, threatened, or panicked. They had issued a warning with nothing more than awareness, communication, and coordination. And it had changed the course of the galaxy. The crew observed Earth one last time. The planet glowed with life. Cities sparkled with lights, and communities moved with purpose and care. People continued to watch the skies, prepared for anything, yet calm in their approach. They had already issued their warning, and they had done so without fear. The Dominion decided to send an official message of acknowledgement to Earth. The GalaxyHFY transmitted it carefully, using the same tone that humans had used in their own messages. Calm, respectful, and precise. We have observed your actions. We recognize your intelligence, coordination, and awareness. We acknowledge your warning and respect your intent. We seek peaceful communication and wish to understand. You have demonstrated strength in ways unexpected. We will treat your species with respect. Humans received the message and shared it globally. People gathered once more to study the response, discuss its meaning, and understand the implications. There was relief, but also excitement. The humans had successfully communicated with a species from beyond the stars. They had been respected, and they had shown their strength without conflict. Communities celebrated quietly, recognizing that their patience, coordination, and intelligence had made a difference. The GalaxyHFY remained in orbit for a short time, transmitting and observing, but no longer as a vessel of fear or test. It had become a symbol of diplomacy and recognition. Humans below continued their watch, calm, aware, and intelligent. They had changed the Dominion's perception through patience, unity, and communication alone. The mission leader reflected on the lessons learned. Strength is not only in power. It is in awareness, unity, intelligence, and calm. Humans have demonstrated this. They have warned us, guided us, and influenced our decisions without any aggression. That is remarkable. The crew nodded. They had witnessed something extraordinary. A small blue planet, a species that had been underestimated, had shown the galaxy what true strength could look like. And it was not about weapons, domination, or fear. It was about cooperation, observation, and clear communication. As the GalaxyHFY began its journey back to the Dominion, the mission leader took one last look at Earth. Cities glowed beneath clouds that shimmered in the sunlight. People continued their lives with intelligence, awareness, and calm. They had issued their warning. They had been respected. And they had changed history simply by being themselves. The Dominion had learned a profound lesson. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread about the humans who had warned a powerful alliance without violence, without panic, and without fear. They had shown that true strength could come from unity, intelligence, awareness, and calm action. They had set a standard that would influence civilizations far beyond their world. And above all, humans had shown that even a small planet with no prior experience of galactic diplomacy could demand respect and earn it, not through aggression, but through observation, coordination, and patient communication. That the GalaxyHFY left Earth's orbit. The humans below continued their lives, unaware of the full impact of their actions. But in the galaxy, a clear message had been sent. Earth was a world of intelligence, unity, and awareness. A species that had warned the Dominion and had been listened to. A species to be respected. The mission leader recorded the final entry in the ship's log. Humans have demonstrated strength in its purest form. Awareness, unity, patience, and intelligence. They have warned us without fear, communicated with clarity, and earned respect. This species is exceptional. Any future encounters must honor their capabilities. Humanity has changed the galaxy by simply being themselves. As the GalaxyHFY traveled back, the humans on Earth remained united, unaware of the monumental recognition they had earned. They had shown the power of cooperation, awareness, and communication. And their warning would be remembered across the stars, not as a threat, but as a symbol of what it truly meant to be strong. Earth continued to shine in the darkness of space, full of life, intelligence, and quiet confidence. And in the galaxy beyond, the Dominion and other civilizations began to understand a simple truth. Humans were a species that could not be underestimated. They had set their sights on peace, and they had achieved respect.